My name was Sophia. My father was a genius architect until my uncle Simon killed him and took over all the family assets. My mother collapsed from grief. I used my own body for drug trials to raise medical fees. The hormones turned me from a slender beauty into a 150-pound fat woman. Everyone mocked me. But I only wanted revenge. So I willingly married the least favored, disabled, illegitimate son of the Blackwood family, Alex Blackwood. I also heard he was blind. On our wedding night, the villa was pitch black. Even the lights weren't on.
My legs are disabled. I can't give you sex.
It's fine.
I don't need a cheap-bought wife. Get out.
If you make me leave, the Blackwood family will still force another woman on you.
Since you've made up your mind, go lie down on the bed.
I closed my eyes and fumbled my way to lying down. In the darkness, the sound of his wheelchair grew closer. Moonlight seeped in, and I saw that face. Wait, the illegitimate son who was rumored to be ugly? How could he look like this? I stared at his face, so perfect it was almost unreal. My mind was full of questions.
It's late. Do as you please. Don't touch me, and don't disturb me.
In the latter half of the night, cold wind crept in. I curled up on the edge of the bed, shivering. A disabled person must be more afraid of the cold than me, right? I quietly got up and gently placed the blanket over Alex. Alex suddenly opened his eyes and grabbed my wrist. I was just afraid you were cold.
You're trembling.
How could a blind man know I was trembling? Unless he could see? I waved my hand in front of him. Alex didn't react. I made a fist and pretended to punch him. Still no reaction. The next day, Alex took out a document. No intimate behavior agreement.
Before any marital relations, both parties must consent. No ambiguous actions during the process.
If either party breaches the agreement, it terminates automatically, and the breaching party leaves with nothing.
Okay. I looked down and noticed that there wasn't a single scratch on the wheels of his wheelchair. How could someone in a wheelchair for a decade keep the wheels so new? Unless he didn't need a wheelchair at all. How are these like new?
The old ones broke.
Was I overthinking? Alex casually handed me a check. $5 million? I had just reached my front door with the check when I heard Yvonne's mockery. Yvonne is my cousin, vain, jealous by nature. She stole my ex-boyfriend and the design drafts I had poured my heart into. I pushed the door open and slapped the check down. Married to a cripple and still acting proud? You and your mother are born trash. I slapped her across the face. Watch your mouth! You dare hit me! Yvonne was about to strike back when James appeared, pushing Alex in his wheelchair. Why did he come? To help me or to watch me make a fool of myself?
She is now a Blackwood. You wouldn't dare touch her.
Yvonne's face turned dark. Alex took back the check and gave me a casual glance.
The bride price for Sophia. You want it? Go ask the Blackwood family yourself.
I didn't expect him to be so protective.
You're here to bully Yvonne again?
Leo, my former fiancé, after he lost his memory, he latched onto Yvonne. Leo, give my sister a ride, will you? I didn't get in the car, but Yvonne still followed me like a lingering ghost. You should buy a bigger car, otherwise Sophia's weight won't even fit in. I gave a cold laugh. No matter how big a garbage truck is, it still can't hold 2 pieces of trash like you. Leo looked at me with a complicated expression. I gave another cold laugh. I turned around and saw Alex's car. Hadn't he left? Alex's car stopped in front of me. Alex rolled down the car window.
Get in the car.
Was he afraid I would be bullied? Yvonne ran over and linked her arm through mine.
Sophia, you must come to my birthday banquet. The entire high society circle will be there.
Her fingernails dug into my arm. I smiled and pulled my hand away. A trap? Perfect. I was just looking for a chance to settle scores.
I'll be there.
I got into Alex's car.
Thank you. That's the first time I've seen them defeated.
His back was to me, but I saw the tips of his ears turn red. I pressed my lips together and smiled. The next day, Alex handed me a sapphire necklace. I took it. The sapphire looked like a deep sea under the light. Wow, how much does it cost to rent for a day? It's quite pretty. I saw Alex's mouth twitch. Strange. If it wasn't rented, did he buy it? The crystal chandelier in the banquet hall was dazzling. The moment I stepped inside, Yvonne came clinging to me.
Oh dear, I thought you weren't coming.
I gave a light laugh. Every time you say that, is it to make everyone think I'm bullying you? All eyes in the room instantly focused on us. Yvonne's eyes turned red in a second, her lips trembling.
Haven't seen her in half a month. Watch your tone.
You remember the days so clearly? Missing me?
Yvonne's face turned pale as death. Leo froze, his ears burning red.
Look at you, fat and ugly. Wearing that gown is like a pig wrapped in a bedsheet.
How's the stolen man working out for you?
You'll see what happens tonight.
She turned and walked away. I was about to breathe a sigh of relief when a pungent smell suddenly hit my nose. She wasn't just threatening me. She had already started making her move. Yvonne raised a glass of champagne and publicly announced that Project X, my father's life's work, was now hers.
Thanks to Leo's support, this project is finally mine.
Yvonne, what is the core technology of Project X?
Monty had collaborated with my father before, and his company was also one of the top construction companies nationwide. I had to seize this opportunity. I stepped forward. The core is to create world-class medical equipment to reduce treatment costs for severe cancer patients.
Jonathan Pierce? You're the daughter of the genius architect Jonathan Pierce?
This is my father's project. I can continue it.
She's just a fatso who knows nothing.
Monty noticed the sapphire necklace around my neck.
This necklace, a limited edition, only 3 in the world.
My husband gave it to me.
What good thing could that cripple give you?
It must be fake. I gave a light half. Fake is still better than stolen.
Come to the company next Wednesday for a talk.
I nodded, but doubts arose. How could Alex, a sheltered, useless man, get something like this? As soon as I left the banquet hall, Leo rushed up and grabbed me.
You're deliberately causing trouble.
I gave a cold laugh. She couldn't answer a single question about the project, and I'm the one causing trouble? Someone who didn't even know her own limits. Did she deserve it? Yvonne smiled falsely and handed me a piece of cake. I knew she was about to make her move.
Sophia, let's not talk about these unpleasant things.
I took the cake, pretended to be tripped, and the cake flew out of my hand.
Yvonne!
Yvonne got it all over her face and screamed.
Ah! My face! It hurts!
Sorry, my hand slipped.
You wanted to hurt Yvonne!
I acted wronged.
I didn't know there was something in the cake. Was Yvonne trying to frame me?
Yvonne was taken to the hospital. I stood outside the crowd, smiling at everything before me, but this was only the beginning of my counterattack. I had just walked out when Leo grabbed me tightly, refusing to let me go.
A vicious woman like you, there's nothing you wouldn't do!
I slapped him backhanded. A scumbag like you doesn't deserve to touch me.
Need help? Who are you?
I said smugly.
My husband.
With a face like his, bringing him out really was a flaunt.
Touch her again, and I'll send you to the hospital too.
As soon as Alex finished speaking, 5 burly bodyguards rushed forward. Leo left in disgrace.
Let's go home.
I shook my head. I want to take a walk alone to clear my head.
Call me if anything happens.
Not long after Alex left, a hand covered my mouth and nose from behind. The pungent smell of chemicals invaded my throat. Everything went black. Who wanted to kill me? When I woke up, I was submerged underwater. I struggled to swim upward, but my limbs felt like they were filled with lead. No, I can't die. I haven't taken revenge yet. Just as I was sinking, a dark figure dove into the water from the shore. He dragged me ashore and slapped my face hard.
That face? It was Alex? But wasn't he disabled? How could he stand up?
I wanted to scream, but my throat was full of water. Then he grabbed my chin and pressed his lips down on, so kissed me. Who was he really? I suddenly opened my eyes. Alex was still sitting in a wheelchair.
It was the boss who jumped in to save you.
Subconsciously, I touched my own lips. Was the CPR you?
Not me! Him!
My face burned up instantly.
Do you remember who did it?
I clenched my fists. I didn't need to think. I knew who it was. Alex tossed out a USB drive.
The surveillance footage is here. Take it.
Warmth filled my heart. He had already investigated it for me? I looked down and saw my soaked shirt clinging to my body, rolls of fat nowhere to hide. I immediately stood up and ran off.
I'm going to change clothes.
After what happened yesterday, I didn't believe Alex was truly blind. Everything seemed full of doubts. The next day, I put bugs on a fried egg and brought it to him.
I made you soft-boiled eggs today. Try them.
Alex took a bite, and his face turned dark.
Honey, you've worked hard. Here, you have a bite too.
I forced myself to take a bite, and my stomach churned. I leaned toward him and vomited right in front of him.
You did that on purpose.
He was so angry that his wheelchair was shaking. But I just wanted to see him crack. Only then could I know if he had been faking blindness all along. Alex took out a stack of documents.
I found out clearly. The person who kidnapped you last time was Yvonne.
She's going to make another move.
I gave a cold laugh. Then let's turn the tables. Let her taste her own medicine. I pretended to be kidnapped and had the kidnapper lure Yvonne over. Fatso, you've finally fallen into my hands. The kidnapper emerged from the shadows and kicked Yvonne into a stinking pool.
You! How dare you!
Yvonne, how does this pool water taste?
How is it you?
Just then, Leo arrived and grabbed my neck.
How dare you touch her?
I threw him over my shoulder in one move, and Leo fell into the water too.
If you love her so much, go keep her company.
Leo, Yvonne, just wait.
However much you hurt me, I will pay you back double.
On Wednesday, I arrived at Monty's company as promised. He looked through my portfolio, smiled, and nodded.
You're hired.
I silently vowed to myself the first step to taking back my father's company started with completing the project he left unfinished. But I didn't expect Yvonne to be such a pestering ghost.
Oh, even a fatso can get into Monty's company? You didn't use connections, did you?
At least I don't need to steal other people's designs to look good.
You...
Yvonne?
Yvonne, please leave. This is an interview room.
Yvonne slammed the door and left. But I didn't expect this was only the beginning. Yvonne immediately made another move. The secretary, her face ashen, pushed open the conference room door.
Bad news. The confidential design of the company's new project has been leaked to a competitor.
Yvonne had been eavesdropping at the door for a long time.
Mr. Monty, I found out it's Sophia.
Yvonne slammed a stack of evidence onto the table. The noise startled the entire office. On the day of your interview, your account received an extra $500,000. On surveillance, you're sneaking around in the middle of the night? If that's not stealing designs, what is? The figure in that surveillance footage was so blurry, I couldn't even tell if it was male or female. And she dared to use it as solid proof?
This is a setup. I never went there.
Until this is cleared up, don't start work at the company. Your father's project, put it on hold for now.
My father's final legacy stopped like that? Fatso, you want to compete with me? You're still too green. Just give me one day. I will prove my innocence. I couldn't wait until tomorrow. I needed to vent my anger right now. I crouched at the bathroom entrance, listening for Yvonne to come.
What do you want?
The moment she opened the door, I splashed hot water onto Yvonne's face.
This one is for my father.
Yvonne lunged at me with claws out. Suddenly the lights went out. In the darkness came the sounds of thuds, screams, and pleas for mercy. Who was helping me? I ran out of the bathroom. Alex's car was parked under the streetlight. Alex saw my red burning palms and frowned.
Give me your hand.
He lowered his head and gently rubbed my hand. His fingertips cooled. My heart pounded like a drum. Why did you help me just now?
Isn't that what a husband and wife should do?
But our relationship is just a transaction.
Even a transaction can come with after-sales service.
I was stunned. After-sales service. What was he even talking about?
Are you in trouble at the company?
Yvonne. I was framed by Yvonne.
I can save you some time.
Alex? Alex took a USB flash drive out of his pocket.
The real surveillance footage and Yvonne's transfer record.
How did he get these? A sheltered, disabled, illegitimate son. Where does he get such capability? In the conference room, I threw down the evidence.
Yvonne is the real mole. Everyone, take a look at this.
Monty. Monty watched the video, his face turning ashen.
Yvonne! You staged this yourself!
No, it wasn't me.
I gave a cold laugh.
No, no!
You stole company secrets to frame me, and then pinned the blame on me.
Yvonne, you're demoted. Sophia, you start officially tomorrow.
Monty. I decline the position. I have other options.
What?
I want to walk my own path. I had just walked out of the company when I saw Alex waiting for me in his wheelchair.
Welcome to Z.
Was he spying on me? How could you possibly know? Aren't you just a spoiled rich kid?
Who said I only live off others? I'm the assistant to the president of Z Group, responsible for liaising, the spokesperson for Zero.
Z Group, the country's top architecture firm. The president was called Zero, rumored to be unfathomable. No one had ever seen him.
I guarantee that Z Group won't have incidents like at Monty's company. Justice will prevail. Your first project here is the A-City Landmark Project.
That's the most high-profile project in the city, and also the one my father left unfinished before he died.
That's right. It's Zero's decision.
Was it Zero's decision or Alex's? Alex had truly surprised me. There were still many mysteries about him. And who exactly was Zero? Why was he helping me? I had just joined Z Group when I was sent to compete. At the press conference, the flashbulbs were blinding.
We're sending Yvonne. What about Z Group? We're sending Sophia.
Yvonne leaned close to Monty's ear, her voice very low. She didn't know. I was the one who had already won. My true identity was one who had become famous young in the industry. The USB drive I'm holding in my fingers, a last work left by my father. This time, I would make everyone remember his name. Yvonne wobbled over in 10-centimeter heels. Sophia, don't cry if you lose. She was oddly smug. I gripped the USB drive. No, it didn't feel right. This wasn't mine. When was it swapped? I opened my laptop. My face turned pale. Where are my designs? I searched every folder. Empty. The whole crowd erupted.
Don't embarrass Z Group. Just give up now.
A week's work, all gone. There were no signs of hacking on the computer, only one possibility, an inside job.
Then Z Group forfeits. I declare the champion of this competition, Yvonne!
On the big screen, Yvonne's design slowly unfolded. I clenched my fists. That was my father's design. Every line, I knew it intimately. Yvonne went on stage to accept the award and gave me a smug glance. This design is my tribute to the industry master, Jonathan. She dared to mention my father's name? I grit my teeth and clenched my fists. This was a blatant provocation. Backstage, I stopped Yvonne. Yvonne. That's my father's design. You stole it.
Just because you say it's your father's doesn't make it true. Do you have proof?
Monty walked over. Monty.
Sophia, Yvonne said you asked her for advice on design before. Did you perhaps borrowed from her work?
I asked her for advice? She doesn't even understand the basics of architecture. Monty, she's my cousin. I don't blame her. She's been jealous of me since we were kids. People around whispered, their gazes stabbing at me like needles. She turned the tables. Everyone thought she was the victim. I clenched my fists. But who would believe me? The door was pushed open. Alex came in, sitting in his wheelchair, and said quietly by my ear,
Bullied again?
What business is it of yours? Alex took out an envelope.
I sent someone to check this out. Take a look.
I opened it. Inside was the complete chain of evidence of Yvonne stealing the design drafts. Original comparisons, timestamps, email records, even the transfer records of bribing the judges. How did you get this? These internal high-level records, ordinary people couldn't get their hands on them. Alex. I suddenly looked up at Alex. There was only one possibility. He was zero? I walked onto the stage and held up the evidence. Everyone, the true owner of the design troughs is me.
You're lying!
Jonathan Pierce. This is my father, Jonathan Pierce's original manuscript. The signature and timestamps are all there. I played the recording from my phone. Yvonne's conversation bribing the judges was crystal clear. The whole room erupted.
Monty.
Monty took the evidence, his face ashen.
Yvonne? Yvonne, do you have anything to say?
Yvonne collapsed to the floor.
You're fired.
The company will thoroughly investigate all your previous plagiarism.
Leo rushed onto the stage and grabbed me.
Why do you have to be so ruthless? She's your cousin.
I shook off his hand.
When she stole my father's posthumous work, did she think of me as her cousin?
I turned and left without looking back. Behind me came Yvonne's cries. I didn't look back. Alex was waiting for me at the exit. I needed to find out one thing. Was he really Zero? I clutched the chain of evidence and stared intensely at Alex. Zero. You are Zero. Don't try to lie to me again.
Zero? You think a person in a wheelchair can control the entire Z group?
Then how did you get these internal records?
I bought them with money. The Blackwood family may not like me, but they haven't slimped on money.
He said it lightly, but I clearly saw his fingers tighten on the armrest. I don't believe you.
Believe it or not, it's up to you. But do you still want to work on your father's project?
He always used this to shut me up. One day, I will find out the truth.
For the next month, I'll be on a business trip abroad. Protect yourself and don't get bullied again.
I stepped onto the scale and stared at the number, 150 pounds. I looked at the mirror, corners of my mouth lifting. 1 month from now, I would stand in front of everyone, and they wouldn't be able to laugh anymore. Just wait.
I would blind them all with my beauty.
I threw myself into the gym like a madwoman, sweat dripping onto the floor. One month later, the woman in the mirror stunned even me. Collarbones prominent, waistline carved like a knife, facial features as if sculpted new. Finally, the moment came when Alex pushed the door open and came home. His gaze locked onto my waist and stayed for 3 seconds. He noticed, but wasn't he blind? At the bathroom door, I deliberately walked by. His gaze followed me, then quickly darted away.
I've lost a lot of weight recently.
I'm blind, I can't see.
I took his hand and placed it on my waist. So like this? Can you feel it? Alex's fingers stiffened, as if burned. The tips of his ears turned red. Alex's Adam's apple rolled. His lips pressed tightly together.
I need to take a shower. You go out.
The sound of water ran for 40 minutes. Could he have passed out in there? I pushed the door open. He was sitting in the bathtub, water droplets sliding down his spine.
Sorry, I thought you...
Father's death anniversary. I came to visit his grave. Simon blocked me with his men.
Hand over the urn.
You want it? Here.
A handful of flour flew into Simon's face. The real ashes had long been swapped by me. I turned and ran. A masked man rushed out and took down the thugs in a few moves. It was James. Another group of people suddenly pulled me into a car. And blindfolded me.
Peel an orange.
I felt the orange peel and heard a familiar low laugh. Alex? The car stopped. I pulled off the blindfold. In the cemetery, the best tombstone stood in front of my parents' grave. Did Alex buy this? Warmth filled my heart. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll deduct it from your salary.
I couldn't help but laugh. This awkward man. One day, I was suddenly called to the Blackwood estate by Madame Victoria. This was my first time meeting Madame Victoria, Alex's grandmother, but I heard their relationship wasn't good. I was just worried about not having a chance to appear. A trap banquet? I would turn it into my runway. The doors of Blackwood estate opened. I wore a dark green velvet gown, the waistline perfectly fitted, and the sapphire Alex gave me hung on my collarbone. The whole room looked as if someone had choked them. Madame Victoria narrowed her eyes. The glass in Yvonne's hand dropped to the floor with a smack, her mouth hanging open. The wine glass in Leo's hand wobbled, wine spilling onto his cuff. He didn't even notice.
How could you?
Don't recognize me? Yvonne gritted her teeth, her eyes full of jealous venom. Leo's Adam's apple bobbed, his lips moved, but nothing came out.
Married to a useless cripple, still can't turn things around.
I glanced at him, the corners of my mouth lifting slightly. Useless? Fine, then let me, the useless wife, play a good game with you. Yvonne really wasn't willing to give up. She teamed up with Simon to forge debts my father owed while alive, claiming I was a jinx who would bring down the Blackwood family. Madame Victoria sat upright in the main seat, tapping her fingers on the mahogany table.
Sophia, your father owes 100 million. I'll give you two choices. Pay the money or divorce Alex.
Simon sneered and slapped down a stack of bills, the pages rustling in the air.
Your mother was sick for 3 years. All the medical expenses were borrowed. It's in black and white, you can't deny it.
I glanced at the bills, picked one up with my fingertips, and flicked it back with a light laugh.
You show me the evidence. The signature on this is not my father's handwriting.
How dare you talk back?
Madame Victoria raised her hand to stop her.
It's only 100 million. The Blackwood family will pay it for you. But you must divorce Alex.
I clutched my handkerchief. So this was where they were leading me. The air suddenly became quiet. I was about to speak. The sound of a wheelchair rolling across the floor came from behind me. Alex pushed his wheelchair forward and snatched the bills.
Her debts, I'll pay them.
He tore the papers with both hands, the shreds falling like snow on the marble floor. Alex coldly swept his gaze across the room. Wherever his eyes landed, Yvonne shrank back. Madame Victoria slammed the table and stood up, the cup rattling. Alex stood in front of me. His back was narrow, but it was like a wall. For the first time, I saw an old scar on the back of his neck. Something in my heart cracked open a little. Head of the family, Madame Victoria? At the end of the corridor, Leo suddenly blocked me. Veins bulged on his forehead as he held his head.
Did we really love each other? I have images in my head.
Leo, my heart for you died, and that's final. Leo suddenly hugged me tightly, his arms like iron clamps.
I don't believe it.
Out of the corner of my eye, at the corridor corner, Alex's wheelchair stopped. He saw it. I pushed Leo away hard.
Get lost.
My nails scratching the back of his hand. Alex turned and left. The sound of the wheelchair rolling across the floor was like a dull knife cutting into my heart. I ran after him, grabbed the armrest of the wheelchair, and my voice trembled. Let me explain.
No need.
Alex wheeled away with a dark face. The corridor was empty, only the sound of my breathing remained. Yet my heart felt as though it had been torn apart. When I got home, Alex lay motionless as if asleep. I had his suit lining lying on the ground, embroidered with the logo of Z Group, the silver thread glaring under the light. My pupils contracted slightly, and I murmured, "Zero?" Zero? In the study, I held a document marked Z Group Internal for Zero's eyes only to test Alex. James said this document requires your signature. Alex ran his fingers over the braille to the third page and paused for 2 seconds.
This clause has a problem. Z Group never accepts VAM.
My heart tightened sharply. That document was forged by me. Z Group had no such regulation. Only Zero himself could see through it at a glance. How do you know Z Group never accepts VAM? Alex's fingers froze. The air suddenly went quiet.
James told me.
James took leave today. You didn't call him. Alex slowly raised his head. I saw a flash of panic in his eyes. Zero. Stop pretending. You are Zero. Alex was silent for a moment, then suddenly pulled a document from the drawer and pushed it in front of me.
All of Z Group's historical contracts are here. The page with the gambling clause, I folded the corner.
I opened it. There were indeed crease marks, the paper yellowed, not newly made. Every word he said was reasonable, but I noticed the knuckle of his index finger was pale. He was pressing hard on the desk. Zero? So you really aren't Zero?
Zero? You think a cripple in a wheelchair can control the entire Z Group?
He patted the armrest of his wheelchair, the metal making a dull sound.
I can barely even stand up. You think too highly of me.
I stared into his eyes, open, calm, even with a hint of grievance. Right. A useless, illegitimate son who had been kept by the Blackwood family for over a decade. How could he be the all-powerful Zero? I'm sorry. I was being overly suspicious. At the designer's banquet, the crystal chandeliers were dazzling.
I studied under John, a giant in the industry. Tonight, I'll even get to see the legendary One. A small-time designer like you will never meet her in your lifetime.
Is that so? I picked up a glass of champagne and smiled faintly.
Yvonne was still bragging about knowing One. I took a sip of wine. She didn't know that I was the person she admired and worshipped.
My phone vibrated. I looked down and glanced at it. The corners of my mouth lifting slightly. The phone screen lit up. It was a message from John. Yvonne leaned over and took a look, her face instantly turning pale.
One? John called you One? You are One?
I put away my phone and didn't answer.
Impossible! How could a piece of trash like you be One? It must be a coincidental username.
On the main stage of the banquet, the lights focused on me.
Please welcome tonight's mystery guest, the architectural legend One.
The whole room erupted. I walked onto the stage in high heels, my dark green gown like the deep sea under the lights.
No. Impossible.
One? How could she possibly be one?
I stood in front of the microphone and swept my gaze across every face below. Shock, envy, regret. My father's name is Jonathan Pierce. The name One, it is also the project he left behind. Thunderous applause came from the audience. Yvonne covered her face and ran out. At the very back of the crowd, Alex sat in his wheelchair, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. After the banquet ended, Alex was waiting for me in the parking lot.
One?
You knew long ago?
I didn't know. But I guessed.
When?
Your design draft is not the work of an ordinary person. I wasn't wrong about you.
My heart skipped a beat. He never complimented anyone. The Blackwood family banquet. Alex brought me back to the estate. It was my first time appearing before them as his wife. Damon, Simon's son, a spoiled little brat.
A blind cripple like you doesn't deserve such a beautiful wife.
Damon shoved me on purpose. I stumbled, nearly falling. Then he picked up a toy ball and threw it at me.
The ball. Pick it up and give it back to him.
I looked at him. His face was blank, but I knew he was teaching me how to fight back. I picked up the ball and noticed it was smeared with dog shit. Simon's dog had just done its business in the garden. I grabbed a baseball bat, aimed at Damon, and swung. The ball hit him square in the gut.
Crazy!
Next one, I'm aiming for your mouth. The second ball went right into his mouth, dog shit flavored.
You bitch!
Simon charged at me. I wiped the remaining dog shit right across his face.
How dare you! Do you know who I am?
A man who killed his own brother, what right do you have to lecture me? Simon's face turned purple. Madame Victoria watched coldly, saying nothing. Did you just smile?
No.
His lips definitely twitched. This man, so contradiction. Early morning, Alex got a call and left in a hurry. Company emergency. Yvonne found Damon. The two joined forces. They fabricated evidence that I was having an affair with Leo. Madam, and handed it to Madame Victoria. Madame Victoria, who had been itching for an excuse to get rid of me, summoned me to the main hall immediately.
Sophia, you've committed adultery after marriage. The Blackwood family will not tolerate you.
This is a setup. I did nothing.
The evidence is solid. Still lying?
Just admit it.
Maybe Leo will take you.
Damon groped me. I grabbed his wrist and twisted it hard.
How dare you! How dare you! Lock her up!
Guards grabbed me. I was dragged into an upstairs room, the door locked from outside. The windows were sealed. My phone was taken. I leaned against the wall, my heart pounding. Alex, please come back soon. Night fell. A strange, sweet scent creeped into my nose, like some kind of flower. My body started to heat up. It was a drug. They drugged me. The door unlocked. Damon pushed it open and lunged at me with a lewd grin.
Let me take good care of you tonight.
I bit my lip. The taste of blood jolted me awake for a moment.
Bitch! You're crazy!
We wrestled. My face was covered in blood. I couldn't tell if it was his or mine. Suddenly, tires screeched downstairs. Alex's car stormed into the estate.
You're standing. Are your eyes also okay?
I was never disabled. All of this is for today.
Alex kicked aside the guards, blocking his way, and charged upstairs. The door burst open. I threw myself into his arms. He was actually able-bodied? Then why had he lied to me before?
James.
James. Castrate him.
Behind us, Damon's agonizing screams echoed. Alex carried me out. No one dared stop him. Hospital. The drugs were flushed out, but I still had a low fever. I woke up groggy and saw Alex sitting by the bed. He had stayed the whole night. I reached out and touched his face.
Alex, you smell so good.
Are you awake?
You think I'm dirty? That's why you brought me to the hospital?
I just don't want to touch you when you're not in your right mind.
Then touch me now.
He kissed me.
If I'd told you, would you have undressed so freely in front of me?
You're such a bastard. You're such a bastard.
Is being a bastard illegal?
I couldn't scold him anymore.
Answer me.
It's you.
Say it again.
It's you. It's always been you. Project meeting. Yvonne and Simon had taken the bait. What they were holding was the fake confidential information I had deliberately leaked. Sophia, we already have your design. You lose. The confidential information you have is fake. The latest version is with me.
Says you? Who can prove it?
Unless the president of Z Group shows up in person, you have no proof. Too bad. Zero never appears in public. You're finished. Everyone in the room was staring at me, their gazes like knives. Alex walked in. No wheelchair, no cane. He just stood there like a drawn blade. Alex glanced at Yvonne and Simon. His voice was not loud, but it silenced the entire room.
I can prove it. 0. Z. I am 0. President of Z Group.
The room went dead silent. Yvonne and Simon's faces turned paper white.
No. Impossible. You're that bastard crippled!
Alex ignored them, pulled a document from his briefcase, and slapped it on the table.
The design she holds is the real one. Here's Z Group's official seal of authentication. Any objections?
The room fell dead quiet. Yvonne's face was pale, her lips trembling.
I announce that my company will terminate all cooperation with the Pierce family.
Monty! You can't do this!
You stole trade secrets and framed the wife of President Zero. I'm already being generous by not pressing charges.
Yvonne's legs gave way, and she collapsed to the floor. She looked up at me, her eyes full of despair and resentment. Alex, you didn't have to do that.
You're mine.
My heart skipped a beat. This man was so dominant. The study. I accidentally came across a photo. It was a picture of Alex with a strange woman. She was beautiful, with a gentle smile. On the back, a line was written, "Wait for me." Charlie. That woman's name was Charlie. My heart felt like it was being squeezed. His first love? He asked her to wait for him? I put the photo back, my fingers still trembling. Late at night, I tossed and turned in bed. Charlie's face wouldn't leave my mind. Who was she? Where was she now? Did he still love her? What right did I have to be sad? We were in a contractual marriage from the start. But tears still slid down. I wiped them away and told myself, don't fall too deep. His heart already belonged to someone else. The next evening, Alex blocked me in the hallway.
What's wrong? Avoiding me?
I'm not. He pulled the photo from his pocket.
You saw this, didn't you?
Your first love. I shouldn't get in the way.
Her name is Charlie. She was my mother's maid. After my mother disappeared, Madame Victoria locked her up too. Wait for me meant wait for me to rescue her.
I froze.
She's 15 years older. She watched me grow up. She's like a sister, half a mother to me.
Tears fell. I had been torturing myself for nothing.
I'm sorry.
The way you get jealous, kind of cute.
Who's jealous?
Next time, ask me directly. Don't bottle it up.
Charlie was still alive. Alex was going to rescue her. This time, I would accompany him. Charlie was locked in the basement of Blackwood Estate. Alex was making his move. I'll go with you.
Too dangerous.
You don't trust me?
I do.
We broke into Blackwood Estate at night. Simon had his men block us. Alex fought 10 men at once. For the first time, I saw him truly fight. Fast, precise, ruthless. I seized the chance and rushed into the basement. The basement was damp and foul, lit by a single yellow bulb. In the corner crouched a woman. Thin, gray hair, clothes in rags.
Alex, you're alive. You really came.
I'm sorry. I'm so late. 10 years late. I'm sorry.
I watched them weep in each other's arms, my own eyes burning. Then suddenly, hurried footsteps came from upstairs. Alex's head snapped up. His eyes turned sharp again. The basement door was kicked open.
Madame Victoria stood on the stairs, a full line of bodyguards behind her.
Her gaze swept over Charlie and landed on Alex, a cold smirk on her lips.
You think finding her can bring me down? Your mother is already dead.
Alex's eyes turned bloodshot in an instant, like a cornered leopard.
You killed her?
She stood in my way. So will you.
I pulled out the recording pen from my pocket and pressed play. Madame Victoria's voice came out.
You will be eliminated.
You admitted it yourself. Want to hear the next part? About how you tampered with the will and hired the hitmen?
You're lying!
Give that to me!
Alex kicked Simon in the chest. Simon flew into the wall and slid down. Sirens approached. Madame Victoria tried to flee, but uniformed officers already blocked the stairs.
Madame Victoria, you are under arrest on charges of murder, false imprisonment, and commercial fraud.
The moment the cuffs closed around Madame Victoria's wrists, she glared at me. I was not afraid, because I knew justice had finally come. Victory banquet. Crystal chandeliers lit up the hall like daylight. All of this city's elite had gathered, whispering about the night's focus. The mysterious president of Z Group. Alex held my hand as we descended the grand spiral staircase. He was in a black suit, no wheelchair, no cane. His steps were steady as an elegant leopard. The room went silent. Everyone was looking at him.
I am Zero, president of Z Group. And this is my wife, Sophia.
He turned to me, his gaze impossibly tender.
She is my wife. My only one.
Thunderous applause. I looked at the crowd, I stepped onto the stage and took the microphone. This was the first time the name One was officially revealed. This award belongs to my father. Simon, when you killed him, did you ever imagine this day would come? The room erupted. Simon in the front row, his face pale as death. Before the banquet ended, the police took Simon away. I watched his back, thinking it was all over. But I was wrong. 3 days later, I received a letter from the prison. Simon's handwriting, every stroke dripping with menace. I opened the letter, my face darkening. Yvonne sent word through her lawyer. She had records of my participation in drug trials years ago. If exposed, I would be blacklisted from the entire industry.
Drop the charges, or you'll be ruined too.
My hands trembled holding the letter. It wasn't a scandal. It was an agreement I was forced to sign to save my mother's life. But no one would care about the truth. They would only care that One was once a drug trial guinea pig.
What's wrong?
I showed him the letter. He read it and was silent for a long time.
No matter what happens, I'm here. Leave this to me.
What are you going to do?
Make it so these records never existed.
Alex spent 3 days tracking down the private institution that ran the drug trials. The place went under long ago, and the records changed hands 3 times. James flew to 4 cities and finally found the dusty file in an abandoned warehouse. Alex wrote a check the owner couldn't refuse, buying off every record. That afternoon, James watched every document fed into a shredder. The digital files were permanently deleted, the hard drives physically destroyed. Simon's last card was dead before he could play it. When his lawyer called him in prison, he slumped in his chair, defeated. But Alex didn't stop. He submitted key evidence to the police. Recording of Simon personally admitting to killing my father.
You think you can destroy me?
Charlie secretly recorded it while she was imprisoned. The day Simon was arraigned, I stood outside the glass watching him. He saw me and gave a bitter smile.
You win.
You lost. To your own greed. Alex stood behind me and gently took my hand. I turned to look at him, my eyes wet.
Thank you.
Your business is my business.
I thought all the enemies had fallen, until that morning.
Madam, there's trouble. Online. Someone posted a video of you.
I opened my phone. The top trending headlines stung my eyes. Architecture Goddess One's affair video leaked. The woman in the video had my face swapped onto her body. The man was Leo. My hands shook. The comments were all abuse. Disgusting. Shameless. So One slept her way to the top. Leo called, sounding triumphant.
You've seen it? Divorce Alex and come back to me. Otherwise, there are more exciting versions.
This is illegal!
Illegal? Then sue me.
By the time the case is over, your reputation will be trash.
I'll handle it.
The next day, Alex held a press conference. He stood on stage behind a screen showing a forensic report. The video was an AI face swap forgery. The original was a sex tape of Yvonne and Leo.
Leo, you've committed trade secret theft, evidence forgery, and defamation. The police are already on their way to your home.
Leo's face twisted on the live feed. The day the court ruling came down, I stood outside my father's company. The sign on the door still said Pierce Group, but I knew that was about to change. Alex stood at the door, not entering. He knew I needed this moment alone. I took out my phone and scrolled to a photo of my father. He was smiling gently, his eyes bright. The tears finally fell.
Dad, I did it. The company is back. Your name, everyone remembers it.
I walked out of the office. Alex was still waiting at the door. He saw my reddened eyes, said nothing, just opened his arms. I threw myself into his arms, crying like a little girl. He patted my back gently.
From now on, this is your kingdom.
Then what are you? The king?
I'm the knight who guards the Lord.
Charlie's health gradually recovered. She stayed in the guest room on the first floor of our villa, watering the flowers in the garden every morning. Alex said she used to take care of his mother the same way. One evening, I brought a bowl of soup to her room. She half reclined on the bed, flipping through an old photo album. I sat beside her. The album was full of photos of Alex as a child, riding a wooden horse, playing piano, held in his mother's arms.
This was the last time the madam held him. That night, Madame Victoria's men took her away.
What exactly did she do to Alex's mother?
She falsely accused her of having an affair with the chauffeur. The madam was locked in the basement for 10 years. Last year, she didn't make it.
My heart was wrenched. Alex had carried so much, yet he never told me.
Madam, thank you. You taught the young master to love again. I've cared for him for 20 years, and I've never seen him smile as much as he does now.
My nose stung, and I almost cried again. The courtroom. Sunlight streamed through the high windows, falling on the judge's black robe. The gallery was full, cameras clicking.
Madam Victoria Blackwood, on charges of murder, false imprisonment, and commercial fraud, sentenced to life imprisonment without parole.
Damon was brought in next. He was much thinner, the arrogance gone from his face.
Damon, on charges of attempted rape and aggravated assault, sentenced to 15 years in prison.
Simon appeared last. He saw me. His lips moved as if to speak, but in the end, he just lowered his head.
Simon, on charges of murder, fraud, and theft of trade secrets, sentenced to life imprisonment.
Yvonne was sentenced to 3 years. Stepping out of the courthouse, the sun made me squint. Alex waited for me at the bottom of the steps, holding a bouquet of white daisies. It's over.
Yes, a new beginning.
The day the A-City Landmark project was completed, the whole city was watching. This was Z Group's biggest investment, and my first signature project as one. The building stood 288 meters tall, its facade a flowing curve like a white ribbon soaring into the sky. The top floor was an observation deck overlooking the entire city. At the completion ceremony, I stood on the stage, facing a sea of people. Alex sat in the front row in a dark gray suit, his gaze fixed on me. This project dedicated to my father. He was a true architectural master. Without him, I wouldn't be here today. Thunderous applause. I saw James clapping enthusiastically beside Alex, even wiping his eyes discreetly.
Boss, your wife is amazing. She's not just my wife. She is Sophia Blackwood, genius architect. Right. Your wife is a genius.
Alex drove across town and stopped in front of a villa. I froze. This was where we first met. The villa was completely transformed. The old walls were freshly painted, the barren garden now full of roses. Light spilled from the windows, warm as a painting.
Remember our wedding night?
I remember. You told me to get lost.
I regret that.
Regret what?
Regret not falling in love with you sooner.
I froze. He had never said anything so direct. Suddenly, Alex dropped to one knee and pulled out a ring. The diamond glittered in the moonlight, like a fallen star in his palm. Tears blurred my vision. I threw myself into his arms, crying like a fool. 1 year later, the beach. White flower petals covered the sand, and the salty sea breeze lifted my veil. I wore a custom-made white gown, delicate vine patterns embroidered at the waist. Alex stood at the end of the white carpet in a white suit, his bow tie perfectly tied. James was the best man, Charlie the maid of honor. Charlie cried even harder than I did, and James kept handing her tissues. The priest asked if we were willing. Alex looked into my eyes, his voice low and steady.
I do.
I do. As we exchanged rings, I noticed his fingers trembling slightly. This man who could fight 10 men, he was trembling. We kissed. Applause and cheers mixed with the sound of waves, and fireworks burst in the night sky. Will we always be like this?
Yes. I'll always be with you.
Promise me, no backing out.
I never break a promise.
The sea met the sky, 2 figures nestled together. May everyone who has been let down by life eventually find their own light,